Okay, wanted to make a quick video. I know this sounds stupid, and I know I try to pride myself on my channel being technical, but literally, I was just in the mood to make some videos. I haven't made videos in a while, so I just wanted to talk about some boards that I was meaning to talk about last season before I had to move and start a new job and all that stuff. So um, I definitely, if you guys want to know more information, you want to type any kind of questions in the comments, which one's better based off of why is this, why that, I would definitely get nitty gritty with you. No problems doing that. But just let me know if you are interested in more technical specs and reasons why I would choose one board or the other, why this performance handles better with these specs as opposed to these ones, yada yada yada. Two boards that I was really excited when I think I got this one last season. This is a Bataleon Camel 2, 157. One of my favorite boards now. I mean, I have too many favorite boards, not trying to brag, but just this is one of my favorite boards. And it sounds dumb when I say that because I have so many. I say that all the time, but it is. The reason why this board's super sick is, I rode my buddy's Bataleon Carver, which is almost the exact same profile as this board. I believe the Carver on its tail has a little bit more of a rounded tail, not with this little cutout right here. The nose, I believe, is the almost exact same, and I believe the 3BT profile on Bataleon, if you don't know about Bataleon, they have a 3D profile. It's called 3BT, and it will have a flat section in the middle, and then the board kind of concaves out towards the contact points, creating almost like a little bolt hole. And I believe this has the exact same 3BT profile as the Carver. So it's more pronounced right here on the nose, and then on the tail it's less pronounced. As far as like going, it's really not pronounced that much at all. It is, but I love this profile 3BT because it's a lot less actually in the tail, and it's still pretty good amount in the nose, which I have found on the Carver and especially on this Camel 2. When you have less of a pronounce of the 3BT on the back, you don't lose as much grip at all as you do with other Bataleon boards, like my Bataleon 1. Basically all like the Bataleon, what is it? Their park board, the Evil Twin, any of their park boards, any like the whatever and all that stuff, they have a little bit of a more pronounced 3BT right here on the back. So you don't get as good as edge hold with those boards on firm snow as you do with this. I want to say, like I said, I sound stupid because this is my channel, but I just had an inkling to make. But I think this is the free ride version or the powder version. I'm not really sure. I will find all that out if you really want to know. But just know there's a specific version for this board, and it has a less amount right here in the tail. And this board freaking carves, dude. I was a little worried because it is a 157, and generally I like riding larger boards. But this board was a standout surprise. It is super fast. It's super light. It freaking carves amazing. I think it has like a 9.1 meter side cut. And that's a really good side cut for carbon. Anything I feel like 8 and up, 8.5, 9, you start getting into the 10s. Like my Nidecker, that's like a 9.8. My Nidecker gun. Those are the boards that I kind of lean to. I really like side cuts 8 and up. I don't really like doing 6s and 7.5s or anything like that. You'll notice when you look up boards, it will say side cut radius, I believe, and you'll see the number right there. The higher the number is, if you got 8.8, 9, 10, that means that this, I believe, this is going to be a straighter, instead of like it, here's their snowboard, and there's a curve going this way, and a curve, here's your snowboard on the other side going this way on the side cut right here. I believe it's actually straighter the higher it is, and that helps you carve hard, long, drawn out turns really deep aggressive cards, but as opposed to having your snowboard and the radius is really circular, like the sixes and the 6.8s and stuff like that, and it just you don't get as much grip on those kinds of snowboards. I'll make a video maybe one day really in depth. I'll get all my crap down about, straight up what side cuts, the correct measurement, all that shit. But if you look up multiple boards, all you have to do is go to the size chart, look at the side cut, and I guarantee you'll start noticing differences on like free ride boards, boards that are meant for carving, boards that are meant like anything that has the word gun in it. Guns are typically, 10, 9.8, 9. That's all because it's meant for bomb and groomers, it's meant for charging hard, and it's meant for rail and turns. Other boards, you start noticing boards like, beginner boards usually will have a side cut of like 6.8, 6, 7 and under. And that's just because it makes it easier for them to turn. It's easy. It's not as locked in as an aggressive board like a 9 or a 10 or 8.5, whatever above. It's easier to turn. So whenever you're learning, you don't just get locked into this crazy turn and you're just off for a ride. You can manage to get that board around. So the reason why I really dig this board is just because it's a board that I can take out like on any given day. This board with this 3BT right here in the front and this little cutout right here in the back, this will help the tail sink in the powder. This will help the snow just get funneled out the front. So this 157, I would be pretty comfortable if I set my stance back, probably with my weight. I would say like, could it handle 10 inches? For sure. I think it could handle 10 inches of fresh power. But you know what? I think there'd be other boards that I have in my quiver that I know could handle it just slightly better. Because with the 157, do I think it can handle it? For sure. Do I think that there's a more chance of that nose dipping in and tomahawking? Because, a little bit of extra length would be good. A little bit of extra length might get you out of some sticky situations. For sure. It just all depends on your height, your specs. If I was like 175 and I was like an inch or two shorter, this could handle 10, 12 inches probably for you. So you have to think about that, what size board, how much you weigh. It's all individual based. Everybody's like, is this going to be good in powder? I don't know. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? How big are your feet? How much powder are you talking? That's why you have to get super, at least me, and if you are too, you get technical with it. So this board is sick. The top sheet to me is sick. She's definitely seen some action already. She's got a couple dings already. But you know what? This is one of my favorite carving boards. I probably will take this out, either this board or my Jones Ultra Aviator for, opening day, simply because this board shreds really well, and it carves amazing, and it handles powder, and it's just a good board that you can be like, what does it do? And it does everything. So that's why I love the Bataleon Camel 2. I believe Bataleon came out with a new, they have a Camel 2 as well, but they have another board called the Cruiser, which I would assume might have a smaller side cut than this Camel 2, because I'm just like, why would you make the Cruiser if you have the Bataleon Camel 2, which is already kind of like the Cruiser? It was, in my opinion, before they came out with the Cruiser, and now they have this Cruiser. So I'm going to bet, if I were to go look up the specs, that it has a smaller side cut than this Bataleon Camel 2, and it probably has some like less carbon in it or something like that to make it different. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, if you're stoked about this board and you're curious about it, I would go and compare the specs between the Bataleon Camel 2, the Cruiser, and the Carver price points, and see which one you kind of feel works best. And now you have a little idea of what this board can do. I've heard reviews on the Cruiser, and I heard that board's sick, that it lays down carves pretty well. It's meant for a little bit more cruisy. A lot of people say this board, I've seen reviews where people say this board is on the softer side, which I can agree to that. The nose right about right here is the softest point of the board, kind of in the middle, but it definitely stiffens up in the tail. And I've gone pretty fast on this board. I never felt like I was going to wash out. I never felt like it got real chattery. It was like, as compared to other boards, because it's kind of light, But for an all-day kind of average rider or a guy that likes a board that he can take out on super nice groomer days, not too firm as snow, but even if it was firm, you know, this thing's still going to grip really well. Other boards would be a little bit better, but this thing overall, this is a solid board for all situations. And whoever is really curious about getting into Battalion, and you've heard things about, like, I heard it, you lose grip hold on Battalions and they suck on firm snow. Yes, with certain profiles, that is true. But if you get a board that has the less pronounced 3D profile in the tail, you'll be happy. The Battalion Party Wave, I believe, has the same profile as this. The Carver, I believe the Cruiser might have the same. If not, maybe that's how it's differentiated. So it's just one of those things, you know, look up the specs, see what has what, and kind of read about what that's best for. And this board is sick. This is a really nice board, and I'm going to be shredding a lot of it on this upcoming season. The next board that I have to talk about is, I didn't get into it last season. I don't think I ever did a review on it or even showed it. This is a Korua Stealth 163, I believe. Yes, Korua Stealth 163. This board, here's the tail, has like a very Skeleton Key-esque tail. I don't know what came out first, the Stealth or the Skeleton Key. I don't know who copied who. And you have this huge nose. You know, the way this board is shaped, the way this board looks, the biggest comparison I would say that this board probably rides like is legit probably the Jones Ultra Mind Expander. Because I believe, honestly, other than the cutout on the tail, the nose is super huge like this on the Ultra Mind Expander. The specs are pretty close. The base on the Ultra Mind Expander is going to be faster than this one, although this is no slouch. This is centered 4000. Base is a little dried out because I never did the maintenance, but I believe that's just dried, a little bit of dried wax, yeah. Definitely, I have a lot of boards, so and this is why I made a video too, because I pulled a lot of them out because I was going to start putting some, you know, storage wax, which they should have been having. But I store all my stuff inside, so they're not in a garage and just drying out. They're all in a nice tempered house, so I don't feel too bad about it. But you know, I've ridden this board a handful of times, and you know, this is another board that I got for a crazy good deal. This board originally I probably cost like 600, 580, 590. I think I got it for like 220, which is not the best deal, but I really wanted a Korua. I really love the way this board, you know, was described. The side cut is amazing. I think it's like 8.8. It doesn't carve as hard as some of my other boards, but it does carve really well, and it has some other things about it that's super cool. So this board is not light. It's not super heavy. It's not like no Donic heavy, but it's pretty heavy. And you know, when you start carving, you start laying over really deep cars and stuff, you kind of appreciate a board that has some weight, because when you get on that trajectory and that path of making, you know, long heel side, a long toe side, and you're locked in, you're in the zone, you know, that weight really comes around and you feel it. It just feels so good. And then when you go back on your toes, all that weight and momentum transfers with you. So boards that are like heavier and stuff, I get it. A lot of people don't like it. You know, they feel it's too bulky, it's too heavy. You know, it might not be the right tool for that day. But you know, on days that you want to really go out and practice carves and get low and have that girth, and have, you know, on firmer snow, you know, that girth, that weight will help stick into the snow, the side cut, and the side of the board to really get in there. And it's good to me. I like it. You know, if you don't like it, that's totally your choice, and I understand. And there's days that I don't want that. So the cool thing about this board is that it has some girth, and it's a weapon, dude. So on here is my Union foul cores. I think these are like 2018, 2019. These are sick bindings. You know, I've had Union Forces. I've had, no, pretty much only Union Forces and the Union foul cores. Again, like my profile, my riding is like on my bindings, I like a good, stiff, responsive binding. I don't like a lot of lateral play. I like to feel locked in. I like to feel, you know, like here's as what I like to feel like, and here's hard booting. And I'm not going to be a hard booter, so I have to get as close as I can with stiff bindings to really feel the response that I like, and that's just my personal preference. A lot of people will say that's bad for your feet. You're gonna mess up your feet one day. Not totally a possibility. That's just how I like riding. So these Union Foul cores are super sick. They could be a touch bit more responsive because that's what I kind of want to talk about too with this video. So these are the carbon high backs. Carbon's cool. Carbon is cool. It's lighter. It's pretty strong, but I feel like it's less responsive as opposed to like these heel cups are. I believe these are metal. I don't believe these are carbon. No, these could be carbon. They actually are. They feel carbon. So like I prefer